70% of the surface of the Earth are covered by water. Still, most people largely underestimate the impact that maritime activities have on our overall life and the future of our planet. Almost every technology asset you have, your smartphone, your tablet or your laptop, is in your hands because of free sea trade and secure seas where the ships that bring this technology to us can securely pass. The main part of international trade takes place on waterways and the oceans of our planet. But not only that. Oceans are also the main indicator of climate change, rising sea levels, large-scale melting of polar ice caps, the destruction of habitats of maritime life. In the Navy, we are passionate about the sea, not only because it's our operational environment, but also because we know that global and regional economic prosperity, but also nature and climate security depend on it. A contribution we make to this are, for example, our naval aviators, who monitor oil spills in the seas that surround our territory. I believe that we can all agree that we care about keeping this environment safe and prosperous for the benefit of humanity. And still, despite all these challenges we know that are happening on the seas that are affecting us directly and future generations through climate change, the oceans are just far too big to understand what's going on with it with traditional methods. Because of this region, for the duration of history, it has been a refuge for illegal activities. Piracy, illegal fishery are no modern problems. This is something we've been having all the time. And this also affects the stability of a maritime ecosystem. The message being, the oceans are just too vast to get the big pictures. But talking about big pictures of the ocean, here's one you all know. It's been taken by astronauts of the Apollo 11 space mission on the trip to the moon. So maybe this can help us to understand sometimes when you're looking at a big problem, you need to split it up into small parts to truly understand it. You need to step away. You need to get the big picture. So first of all, how can we do that? Where is the position that we can get this big picture from? Well, let's go back to the same place where the astronauts did their photographs. We're speaking about space, but first let's take a step back. As space people, we often start getting into deep tech issues and people really don't understand what spacefaring is about. Many people think this is about space shuttles, astronauts walking around on the moon, but try to eliminate this picture from your mind. The modern age of spaceflight is very different. Small satellites are revolutionizing the way how we see our planet. On a daily or even hourly basis, they are gathering a broad range of parameters regarding the entirety of the globe and also the seas, which constitute the largest part of it. They have gathered information and data that could not have ever been gathered in any other way with any other sensor technologies. By that, they are a cornerstone for us to understand the impact of climate change. Satellites have gathered data that tell us how sea level is rising, how temperature is changing in the maritime environment. But not only that, satellites can also track activities of ships on the water, pirates, illegal fishing, the pollution of seas, even the changes of water temperature, growth of algae, and if you want, with some extra equipment, you can even track whales in their voyages in the seas. This information is not hard to get anymore. It's getting more and more accessible. And why is that? Because satellites are getting smaller, they're getting cheaper. So are rockets. It's getting easier and easier to put assets into space that can give us this information. So this is also the good news for all of you that want to join the effort in understanding and protecting our oceans. And the best thing about it is we don't even have to bother with building these satellites anymore. A thriving commercial space ecosystem that is providing the launches, the satellites, and the data analysis is there for our use. All that being said, I want to transmit an idea to you, and that is that not only maritime and global challenges of climate change and security issues, they are not only linked together and will grow even closer, but they need a bold and joint push towards leveraging space technologies that are easily accessible to us while we're still in the position to react to the challenges of the future. We at Universität der Bundeswehr München are convinced that this is the way to go. We need to pioneer specific technologies, push transfer of technology of satellites to the maritime domain, and follow our vision of a more safer and transparent sea. Glass seas, a perfect idea of what is happening in and on the water. Together with our partners and Universität der Bundeswehr München, we want to push the technology that helps us to monitor the maritime environment and make data accessible to those that are able to drive change in it. Democratizing the access to unclassified satellite data regarding what's going on in our seas is a cornerstone of tackling the challenges we have in maritime security and climate change that is related to our oceans. We want to leverage the technologies that make new space possible. New space is the cheap and fast access to orbit, the ability to bring assets into space for a fraction of the price and in a fraction of the time that this was able to be done before. But maybe the best way to move forward with this is asking you, who have a diverse background, not only space technology. What would you do if you had the full, big picture of our planet, if you could understand the mechanisms of maritime activities and life, affecting the whole range of human activities on this planet? What would the changes be you would hope for? What is the future you would see for the security, safety, and clean seas of our future? Feel invited to explore together with us. Thank you.